The dark truth behind MrBeast's response. Caught lying by the WillyMacShow. Before we start, I do want to clarify as well. I have notoriously not had a response, not had a statement, not had any sort of anything really, right? In regards to MrBeast, anything in that situation. Strictly because allegations, anything legal, they're all just allegations still proven otherwise. Especially in regards to, I'm sure he'll go over it, but later on, we have a specific quote that I will point out that I think is incredibly problematic. So a couple things crossed the line here. And honestly, for all intents and purposes, it is popular to kind of just hate on MrBeast and the MrBeast brand, whether they deserve it or not. I mean, obviously, as someone who's pointed out things like Dr. Disrespect, I've been very, very critical of Chris Tyson and very curious why the LGBTQIA plus community has not really gone after Ava Chris Tyson. But that's between them and Ava Chris Tyson. So let's get into WillyMac's video on the subject.
This video is about accountability for Dogpack, Rosanna, as well as MrBeast.
Okay.
Jimmy has finally confronted the allegation. Many were put to rest, like him knowingly hiring a convicted predator. But other answers he gave relating to his crypto allegations come off as downright deceptive.
And he doesn't disclose, one, that he set up a pre-sale and he's like in before anyone else, right? Millions of dollars. Two, that his fund had been selling and continued to sell after that tweet.
Then we got Dogpack, who was repeatedly caught misreporting claims from CGI to charity fraud accusations and falsely labeling MrBeast higher-ups as convicted domestic abusers. He's also made some of the most reckless CP accusations I have ever seen, making him and Rosanna look like freaks for putting it in the thumbnail. It's got
Thank you, WillyMac, for pointing this out, because it seems like nobody's talking about this, and I'll play the clip later, because this is one of those things that you cannot say that. Like, obviously, the internet, right? Oh, everything. You can say everything on the internet, right? You can't make a claim like that. You can't. In fact, I, myself, Kip, Dingus on the internet, have debated if I need to clip that section and send it to the FBI. Because that was bad. You want to kill your brand? That's how you kill your brand. I'm always worried about saying something controversial. I'm always worried about, you know, having some sort of whatever, right? I'm consistently worried that I'm going to say the wrong thing, right? I think I'm doing pretty well. And when I don't make just an absolute off-the-wall CP allegation like that, I think I'm doing pretty well.
to the point where there's no other way to cut it. Dogpack and Rosanna are acting in bad faith. I've never supported another creator getting sued, but
Are you gonna sue Dogpack?
Not done drafting it up, but once they're done, more than likely, yeah.
this does put a smile on my face. Now there are also
Yeah, honestly, sure, I'm for that. Obviously, once again, like we said at the beginning, suing somebody, lawsuits, that, you know, allegations, they're allegations till they're proven. I would say there's a very strong slander case here. Not a lawyer, right? Not legal advice. Whoo, boy.
accusations that Jimmy still hasn't addressed, like LaKoya Hill and the victim holding out for hush money.
I've spoken to the victim, but the victim was trying to get hush money. MrBeast, I guess, wanted was for him to say it was consensual, and I have a recorded phone call with him where he's talking about that. I mean, you'd have to like distort his voice and everything to use that.
So, you were right. They are going to come to that. They're going to reach out to me and say they want me to say that it was consensual.
I was able to get an unsatisfactory answer from Jimmy on this, but in a roundabout way, it leaves me very unhappy. This sort of thing always makes me feel a little dirty. That's why I need something minty, cool, refreshing.
Nice.
Like Fume. The holiday
That transition was slick. That's a 10 out of 10 transition. I also like the QR code.
season is here, and if you're like me, you might still be looking for the right gift for friends and family. Fume is a flavored air device that is fun and perfect for anyone looking to break a bad habit. No batteries, no vapor, no nicotine. What I love most about Fume is the ultimate fidget toy. It has an excellent weight to it, a magnetic body. When you
Nice.
twist it, it makes this satisfying noise. It has a stand which is equally fun to fidget with, and I didn't even mention there's tons of flavors and varieties. I use it most when I'm working and I start to get restless or bored instead of getting up to get another snack or a fourth cup of coffee that I definitely don't need. I instead play with the Fume a bit, get a little stimulant of flavor, and I'm right back to work. So whether it's helping someone break a bad habit or just a fun toy for the office, Fume is the perfect gift for the holidays. So give the gift of better habits by going to tryfume.com/WillyMac or scan the QR code and get a free topper when you sign up for the Journey Pack today. Thank you, Fume, for sponsoring this video.
I like it. Not sure entirely what the product is, but as somebody who likes to fidget with random things, you know, like knob down here on my desk, whether it's my Xbox controller, etc. Right, man, I like fidgeting with stuff. That speaks to me. I like that. I think that was a 10 out of 10, at least bordering on 10 out of 10. I liked it. That was a very strong ad read.
All of these allegations towards MrBeast have been filtered through Dogpack, Rosanna, and Jake Weddle. One of the first pieces of advice I and many other commentary channels told Dogpack was that you're dealing with anonymous victims and witnesses, meaning that they're relying on your credibility to get their message out there. Dogpack has since let them down. He falsely accused James Warren of being convicted of domestic abuse because he didn't want to wait 14 days for a Freedom of Information request.
But it doesn't say on the, I guess, the public registry what it is. So you have to submit a Freedom of Information request, which then takes like 2 weeks. So that's the real reason. I just showed like more corroborating testimony. I mean, it is testimony. I feel like the disclaimers were pretty clear and like they were genuine, like it is allegedly.
Also, when you can, look at the James Warren domestic violence case against his ex-girlfriend. He apparently abused her for months before she filed charges. This person is alleging that there was a domestic violence charge. That means it's up to you to find it before you post it to 3 million people. They dodge all—
Wow, what a novel concept. Having to do your research and having to have evidence to back your claims? Bro. What a novel concept.
accountability. When I made these criticisms, Jake Weddle left a comment on my video saying, "Oh my god, they're millionaires, who cares?" Mockingly saying life ruining, unless they go to jail, they will be fine. So just because they're rich, it's okay to make false accusations? They're still people, Jake. It's such a mean-spirited way to justify their actions. Dogpack would follow this up, going on Rosanna's channel and making more false allegations, saying Ava was posting CP to the group chat.
You know that Jimmy's John Smith, I'm going to get to the messages, starting with this sexually.
I actually, unironically, so I came into this talking about citing sources. I literally had this exact thing pulled up. I'm so glad someone else other than me is being very critical of this. This is bad. I want to impress. This is bad. This is a bad look for large YouTube creators. This is a bad look for the platform. This could be a bad... We want to talk about an adpocalypse like on Twitch right now. This is a bad look for any advertiser that could be seen with this. It's the Logan Paul Prime Gaza situation, right? The image where it's Logan Paul marketing Prime, but this section of his video is called Prime, right? Or it's called Gaza. Oh my god. Dude, this is bad. Like, this is actually bad.
Explicit photo of an alleged 13-year-old.
Oh my gosh.
So Ava Tyson sends a photo of a young-looking girl in a sheer top.
Ivanka.
So I want you to understand. So we're making a claim, right? We're alleging that this is CP, right? Alleging. So what I've heard, sure we'll get into probably debunking it. I guess this is an 18-year-old, whoever this is. This is, as I said, the exact video. They use it in the thumbnail. So we have a problem here. Either this is a very large, just slanderous, untrue statement, or we run into the situation where they're actually unironically, knowingly sharing CP, to which Dogpack goes, he can either confirm or deny. This is a bad look for the platform. You know, I didn't know enough about Rosanna Pansino. I didn't really care. Look, it's I don't really have any sort of, skin in the MrBeast game. I don't, right? I gain nothing by going either way. I'm a small creator. If anything, I had a lot to gain by just being, going with the masses and just being like, oh, MrBeast, blah, 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 right? I have everything to gain from, being in that herd, right? That herd mentality. But that's not me, and that's not fair if there is no evidence to support it, and if people who are alleging things against you and accusing you of things aren't doing their research and they're making baseless and false claims. That just doesn't strike me as good, Captain. So yeah, I mean, I think this is one of those that YouTube might want to look into. We want to talk about demonetization. We want to talk about harassment, bullying. We want to talk about spreading misinformation. We want to talk about using alleged CP in a thumbnail. That's bad. Okay? That's bad. Like, that is such a big L that I can't even classify. It's so bad.
Ivanka Trump when she was 13.
Yeah, and the message reads, so this photo is allegedly of Ivanka Trump when she was 13. Ava thought that this was possibly a 13-year-old, and she's posting it in a work chat.
And you're posting it on YouTube. When this video was first posted, the image was not blurred. It looked like how Dawson posted it on Twitter. Now, when I
Oh no, you're saying that they actually blurred this image, so they went back and retroactively doctored that thumbnail? Man, we really have a problem. You know, Logan Paul from his legal team, Logan Paul, and a Japanese forest incident never really got punished. In fact, I think you can still find some of the footage, not from him, but on YouTube as well. We want to talk about cleaning up the platform. That's a big start, especially when there is cognizance at that point to go back and do something, right? This is bad. This is a 100% an expose in do your research. Don't be an idiot. Like, this should be a no-brainer.
Saw this, I noticed how they looked like professional photos, like it was done for a magazine, so I doubted she wasn't an adult here, and as it turns out, that would be true. She was 18 doing a magazine shoot, but it's important to remember that everyone thinks she is 13 here. They think this is CP, so they only read one sentence of what Ava says to make it seem like she's a pedo, and everyone in the group chat is fine with it.
So this photo is allegedly of Ivanka Trump when she was 13.
Why would you ever send somebody a picture of a 13-year-old topless?
So here's the thing. She makes the argument. I know she makes the argument because I've seen the clip. She makes the argument about not being appropriate for a work chat. Absolutely. We need to have a conversation. Not now, obviously. But there is a conversation about appropriateness in a work chat, right? Now, I'm sure there's allegedly group chats out there where people, you know, maybe talk about some things. If I were to work for, say, an 18-plus store, maybe I'm talking about a shipment of a certain product or certain toy, okay? Obviously that can be subjective depending on your industry, coworkers, etc., right? That I'm sure there's reasonable exceptions here. But if you're working for, say, me, if you're working for MrBeast, if you're working for, bank even, right? Bank credit union, there's a certain level of professionality. Absolutely. I think we have to concede and honestly kind of vibe with that point, so to speak, right? Think that's pretty fair. Think that's pretty reasonable, common sense. However, it's the thing where you're trying to put the argument through that justification of professionality, but you are still making the claim that I can neither confirm nor deny this, and still alleging that this is CP in the chat with that lens. WillyMac is absolutely calling this out correctly.
Ava Tyson saying, oh, this photo is allegedly Ivanka Trump when she's 13, and it's clearly sexually explicit. She's wearing a see-through top. That's insane.
That is wildly inappropriate.
But if you actually go back, pause, and read it, it's Ava going, holy shit, isn't it crazy that John Casablanca's modeling company is getting exposed on Twitter for this? How is this not being addressed? And if you take a second to think about it, Dogpack and Rosanna are doing the same thing. They downloaded what they thought was CP, edited it, and censored it in post, and then uploaded it. But instead of posting it to a group chat, they uploaded it to all of YouTube.
Why would you ever send somebody a picture of a 13-year-old topless?
Why would you repost it to YouTube?
Yeah, I mean, those in glass houses, right? Why would you ever share that? Why would you ever post this to YouTube using it in the thumbnail, knowing, and I would argue there is a certain amount of knowing here, knowing that this is going to cause damage in a specific way. I think that's completely fair. That's like Rosanna Pansino and Dogpack being like, wow, this Kip guy is such a MrBeast grifter, right? He's such a small creator, and he has issues with this. We're going to post a video about, I don't know, him liking Project Melody or something like that, and have like a censored picture of Melody, and just being like, well, why would you ever share that? Okay. First of all, I make it no secret that I have immense respect for Project Melody. And people say it's all, well, Kip, it's you shrimping. No. There's intelligence there. There is absolutely intelligence there. And then there's that whole thing about Warhammer 40k being a great filter for people. And it's absolutely true, both from a money investment standpoint and a time investment standpoint. Generally, it's kind of the L5R effect, Legend of the Five Rings. L5R, Emperor Edition, too hard for a lot of people, right? I know I'm losing some people. Hey, bear with me. I'm getting to my point. Too hard for a lot of people. So therefore, you have people that are like, well, I want to play this game. And you get a lot of those people to filter out. Meanwhile, you have people, staying who are like, damn, this game is good, bro. Scorpion Clan's great. F the Crane Clan. I don't want to draw 2 cards. Don't drop your courtesy of the Crane. What I'm trying to get at is it's a filter for people. Much like in the way certain other games are. But like, you see, coming back to the point of trying to elicit a certain response, right? If someone were to make a video and be like, oh yeah, this Kip guy, he's kind of cool, versus, oh yeah, this Kip guy is such a perv, he's a MrBeast grifter, and it's a censored picture of Project Melody or something like that. You see how intent goes into that? I don't think you have reasonable, not reasonable exception. You can't reasonably dismiss this there was an intent here, especially if this if it was uncensored before the current thumbnail. That's bad.
Testing which version would clickbait people the best, they read a law saying that it is legally CP and reported Ava and Jimmy to the FBI.
Images of CP are not protected under First Amendment rights and are illegal contraband under federal law.
That image was suggestive.
Yeah.
I want to point out, if this was allegedly CP, they're watching it right now. Man, it's almost like possession is an actual crime. It's almost like distributing is an actual crime. There is no way that this is legit. There's absolutely no way. And that being said, even if we're making these claims, knock knock, FBI, open up. You want to report MrBeast to the FBI? Cool. What about the people who are allegedly in this situation, looking at this through the lens of it and being like, oh yeah, this is it. Well, I can neither confirm nor deny it, but this is CP. This is what this is. How brain dead have we gotten?
In my best judgment, if this is a 13-year-old, as Ava alleges, I would say that this constitutes a CP, in my opinion.
I have reported what I found and my concerns to the authorities. FBI. Hopefully they will look into these MrBeast Telegram company chat logs and other concerns, which again, you guys committed the same crime here. It only took 1 hour after this video was posted to find out that Ivanka was actually 18 and that it was just a magazine shoot. Despite all of this, the video remains up. The false James Warren claims
It does. We have proven it remains up.
Up until a week ago, it is constant misinformation. The lack of care for the truth is appalling. They are so willing to make charity fraud accusations with such little evidence. MrBeast Philanthropy built 100 wells in Africa, and because the editors reused the same shot twice, well, that means it must be fake.
Really, the most damning thing against MrBeast is that he has faked parts of his philanthropy videos in a way where he's making it look like they did more than they.
But why? Why are you scripting this? So look at the whole looking at the thing
of his philanthropy videos in a way.
Looks at camera. Why are we trying to build rapport during the explanation? Why do people do certain things, right? Sociology, psychology, etc. Now you can argue that this is a one-off, just I'm going to look at the camera, right? I think that this could be seen as building rapport. I think that this could be seen as trying to connect with the audience on a deeper level. But then again, absolutely, I think this could be definitely dismissed as far as, well, why are the curtains blue in the house, right? Well, this invokes the artist's depression, invokes their sense of inner turmoil, their bleak outlook on life. I think there's a middle ground here. I think that especially when we're looking at how this is being presented, especially after the whole bit, this whole CP bit, I think that this is manufactured in some capacity. I think there's a reasonable expectation that this could be manufactured in order to build rapport with an audience.
Where he's making it look like they did more than they actually did. Here's one where he claimed to build 100 wells, but in multiple shots you see the same wells listed as different wells. Well 29 and 67 were the same. He also said he built a bunch of wells in Kenya, but then showed wells that were clearly built in Zimbabwe.
Like, bro, you need more evidence than a shot being reused. Maybe the film crew couldn't be there. Maybe the footage corrupted. MrBeast claims it's an editing error.
Yeah, I think,
I mean, hear me out. The shots just didn't make sense for the final cut, right? If I were to do a video on Resident Evil, right? Say Resident Evil 4, okay? Maybe I'll have certain shots like the village, maybe like the castle, maybe the island, maybe meeting the Regenerator for the first time, right? Does it necessarily make sense to have a shot in of a wonky camera shot defeating Ganado number 429? Maybe not, right? I think there is a film aspect to it. Not everything on the B-roll, not everything on the cutting room floor makes it into the final product, does it not? So, absolutely. If there is wrongdoing, I want to acknowledge, if there's wrongdoing or weight to allegations and accusations, sure, but we have to be correct about this. We have to be proper about that, as with everything else. Just because MrBeast is large does not make him the exception to, stick it to those millionaires, right? No, they have to go through the same process, and if guilt is found, then we have an issue. Well, what about Logan Paul, Kip? You hate him. Oh, yeah, because he's done the Forest Incident, Dink Doink, Crypto Zoo, had interactions with those, continues to have interactions with Lunchley, Moldy Lunchley. I did reach out to Lunchley, by the way Logan Paul said to reach out to Lunchley. I still haven't received a response. So it's like, use your contact form. What do you want from me, right? But when you have things that you can draw from, absolutely. A lot of what this is at, a lot of people are making claims that are getting dismissed. And even the claims that aren't getting dismissed, this is clearly being handled in the professional capacity by a literal lawyer. If someone does something wrong and is proven wrong, absolutely have a field day. At this point in time, I am treating it, as I have been, as allegations and accusations. That's not me being a grifter. This is me being an adult.
Like 1 or 2 of the wells we accidentally showed this like same well as different numbers. But once again, like I said with the blind thing, like why would I spend 98% of the money and then just fake 2 wells? Like
Correct.
destroy the entire integrity to save like 2%. Anyone who made those videos like saying the philanthropy is fake, like that's the one that bothers me the most because we go so above and beyond. Like honestly, if you could just delete them, like that'd be great.
These sort of allegations have hurt the philanthropy's ability to get sponsors and fund new projects.
That like spooked off a lot of people because they're like, oh, so this charity is not authentic. Because like obviously people don't want to work with a charity that's not legit.
Even if it's, well, clearly there's weight to it, right? Clearly there's weight to it because it's spooking off investors and, advertisers. Not necessarily yes and no, right? If there is a situation in which someone is accused of doing something, it can have the effect of people looking at their brand integrity, advertising, right? They can look at that and they can see it as a risk to them. So let's say we have, for example's sake, we have, big burger place, right? Wanting to advertise on MrBeast because, oh, this would be cool. And they see all of this stuff, even if it's not true, even if it's, allegations at this point, even if it's early, sections of a lawsuit, right? They can still look at it and go, whoa, this is a little too hot for us, okay? We're going to be seen alongside you. We can't do that. So when I see something like this isn't necessarily the most damning thing. Brands, advertisers, sponsors, etc., at the end of the day are going to protect their bottom line, regardless of if it's true or not. Now, we can have an ethical and moral debate on that, absolutely. But this isn't the most damning thing to me.
This video is also still up. This investigation that Dogpack and Rosanna have been running is so scuffed. Dogpack admits that he's just been swinging accusations at the wall and hoping one sticks. He says LaQuia Hill was roofing people because one text claimed it.
I posted that video with the roofie allegation. I was like, I'm not so sure. I went on Oopaville's channel and I was like, I wasn't sure about that one. And then people had reached out to me and it was actually consistent with certain victims' stories, I guess, from people close to the victim.
Why are you posting?
I mean, like, I can make claims too, right? Dogpack44 never worked at MrBeast. Well, Kip, where are you getting that information? You would be correct. You see why we only make claims in good faith or if there's reasonable evidence. And absolutely, that's why some allegations get dropped, especially if there's enough, behind it, like, hey, we need to take a look at this, right? So if they were to get reported to the FBI, I might get a slap on the wrist, like, hey, this wasn't CP. Don't do that again. You're literally not the police, right? That kind of thing. But, that would probably just get dropped, and this would still, in my opinion, be... We want to talk about sponsors and black eyes. How is that not a black eye to sponsors? How is that not a black eye to advertisers? To have Rosanna and Dogpack claim, oh, yeah, this is CP, and watching it, having a thumbnail on it. Man, I would be having some conversations about monetization right now.
Posting accusations you aren't confident in. It's psychotic. Rosanna says that people are breaking bones at the Beast games because a message said it. No other evidence.
The messages that I have received from contestants on the show are pretty much all telling a similar story, and I find them to be very disturbing. I saw people with broken bones, stitches, etc., and most were women.
Jimmy claims his company called back all 2,000 contestants and they couldn't find one broken bone.
It's like crazy to think that I'd be like, oh, 10 people broke their bones? Let's keep filming, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't even make sense.
That is such a liability. Like, yeah, absolutely. When you hear, hey, there are 10 people that broke their bones, you go, oh, what? But your follow-up is, okay, but where's the citation? Where's the sources? Is this credible? Is this not credible? Come, I'll use the Sean headline, wake up, sheeple. Don't get force-fed information, right? Do your research. Say, whoa, I need to make sure before I go off the deep end here. You have the deep end as far as like, oh, well, MrBeast, blah, blah, blah. Make sure you have an actual basis for that. This is why I haven't been commenting, because there is so much up in the air. There's so much left out. There are complete just, what I would argue are fabrications, right? That I'm like, no, I need to take my time and wait to see how this happens. I'm not going to compromise my morals and ethics for a few more views. That doesn't make sense.
After that claim came out, we literally called 1,950 contestants of the 2,000. We couldn't get a hold of all 2,000. I couldn't find a single broken bone. It's even crazier is then people tried to not like the contestants, but the internet and, you know, their theories, tried to frame that as hush money. Like I gave them all $2,000 to like make them happy because we didn't tell them beforehand.
I think that his heart might have been in the right place there. I think that because public perception was the way it was, maybe he should have ran this through his lawyer. He probably did, right? I guarantee you he might have, right? Well, I can't guarantee. He probably should have, right? That way that could have avoided that whole situation. But like, you know, if this is true and he's just like, hey, look, yeah, sorry about this. There's misinformation going around here. Have money, right? Have $2,000, right? Cool. Awesome. But because of the way that the internet was already poised, because it's popular, right? A certain channel that just does the whole, it's satirical, right? But the MrBeast is done, KSI is done, KSI situation gets worse, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's the same video, right? We know who it is. Like, I mean, when that is a profitable format, yeah, it's going to be popular to harp on somebody. That's just how the internet works. And it's up to you to not be sheeple, right? Up to people to have that cognizance and critical thinking and education, right? And just being able to be an adult to not follow that. Let the lemmings jump off the cliff. You can be the person that goes, but why are we jumping off the cliff?
Like to surprise them as they got eliminated. And then people are like, you just did that because of hush money. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, I also didn't give them like legal paperwork tied with it.
They called everyone back and decided to offer an additional $1,000 per person to make up for any of the inconveniences.
This doesn't even make sense. What does someone with broken bones have to gain from staying anonymous? Surely the show would cover those costs. Even claims.
I guess at that point, you would be looking at NDAs. You'd be looking at anything that could be legally tying something up, right? As somebody who takes NDAs very seriously, like there could be a thing there. But even then, that's when you speak to a lawyer.
About Delaware, convicted predator MrBeast allegedly knowingly hired and protected his identity with a mask was a completely checkable claim, but Dogpeck went live with it anyway.
Why do you call him Delaware? I didn't know. Apparently they called him Delaware because he's not allowed to go back to Delaware.
That is actually false. We've proven that's not true.
He'll be in videos. He'll be in thumbnails. He'll be around, and whenever he is, he's wearing a mask. Why would you wear a mask? Why would you conceal your face? It's like, what are you concealing? That you are a registered sex offender? And that your face can be looked up on a thing? How much more can you literally cover up a sex offender?
This is just not true. This guy's name is just Delaware. It's on his name tag at Best Buy. Delaware did also wear a mask, but only for one video, and it's because it was shot in an insane asylum. It was a bit. Dogpeck couldn't find a single other video with him wearing a mask and still went live with this accusation. What gave this story credibility was another former MrBeast employee and Delaware's cousin named Jake the Viking coming forward saying Jimmy knew the whole time. Before being hired, Delaware sat down with Jimmy and Sue, Jimmy's mom, and explained to them everything. So yes, Jimmy knew. It wasn't until Jake the Viking admitted in DMs with Connor X that he doesn't know if this conversation ever happened, saying that he was just told this, likely by his cousin Delaware. I have no proof of this, only what I've been told. Everybody is just spewing bullshit, acting like they have first-hand information on things when they don't. This video is also still up. Tons of creators, including me, repeated this misinformation because
Right. No, and that's the power of misinformation. This is a problem, right? I mean, we can look at that Mutahar, right? Everyone loves Muta, right? Hey guys, Muta here. Oh, that was a completely wrong thing. And I have a lot of respect for Mutahar, right? And this is the danger of using information that is cutting edge, because on one hand, sure, you may want to game the algorithm. On the other, yes, you hear something so egregious that you're like, whoa, we need to talk about this, right? Absolutely. But then this is my worry, right? In doing React content, right? I try to curate my list because there's so many awesome people out there that I want to react to, and so many awesome people that I can have kind of this back and forth with, right? And then chats off to the side, be like, hey, hi, love this video. Maybe not this thing, but love this video, right? This becomes the issue. If I were to put out something like this, I personally would feel really bad, right? It's why I've refrained from commenting, because I don't know what's true. I don't know what isn't. I'm waiting for something with substance, something official to come out, right? So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's building that rapport, and I say that in the parasocial sense, right? Like, if Mutahar tomorrow just started going off the ice, just going off the deep end, and talking about, with all seriousness, like really big conspiracy theories, touting things that are verifiably untrue as fact, that's not him, right? That's not what he does, right? Then yeah, maybe my perception changes, but that's literally with everybody, right? Like me, if I started spouting just things that are untrue and I keep claiming that they're fact, are you going to trust what I have to say? Probably not. Love mood, but this is an L. And that's the thing, right? As creators, sometimes we have our L's. Even I, who try to be kind of reserved, I've absolutely had my L's. I've absolutely cited things that are incorrect, and I appreciate when the comments, point it out, right? Hey, Kip, this is why this certain interaction happens in science. Oh, hey, thank you. I wasn't aware of that. I will. Then you do your best to correct it, right? Like, yeah, like this is the power of disinformation. It can seep into larger creators, larger personalities, and just get spread far beyond its initial reach. This is a problem.
Because these three talked out their ass. There is zero remorse from these people. I want to take a moment and do a rapid fire compilation on how Dogpack was wrong about everything. Dogpack would secretly record an employee gossiping about Delaware.
The person on the other end of this line is a different former MrBeast employee talking about Delaware. Also, apparently before this phone conversation got recorded, the person on the other end of the line said that the MrBeast team was actually trying to expunge Delaware's record off the registry, and that's what actually sparked this person to start recording.
Soggy Cereal took the time to get the full context by interviewing that same employee. The truth is, the employee didn't know he was being recorded and was just talking shit.
This is why there are certain laws. Like, there are certain states, for instance, that are one-party consent states, and then there's two-party consent states, where it can be illegal to record someone in a state without their authorization. This is actually what Logan Paul and CoffeeZilla got into, because there was the claim of this is this state versus this state, and what was it? I think it was Logan Paul. I don't actually remember. Somebody correct me on that. It was either Logan Paul or The Completionist, and I don't actually remember. So I will once again. Hey, I don't know. Somebody, please feel free to fill in the gaps, right? But you see how that's different than me just going initially with that and running with that and then spreading misinformation. So going back to the point, that can actually be illegal in certain places. Make sure you're checking that. And I'm assuming in different countries as well. Like, there is a huge thing with consent and recording people.
This is true.
Can you tell me a bit about how that happens?
Yeah, it was not to my knowledge that I was being recorded at all. It's just a friend. We're just shooting the shit, and we're just gossiping a lot, catching up on, the current drama. I don't think any of the stuff that we were talking about really had any facts or evidence. It was just water cooler talk.
Dogpack claims a contestant got scammed out of dog food for life.
There's one example where someone on Reddit posted saying that they were promised free dog food for life in exchange for letting MrBeast use them in a video. 5 months later, they still haven't received their dog food. I actually sent this post to someone who works at MrBeast, and they said they were going to send it to the PR team. And then the Reddit post got taken down.
Well, did you reach out to the Reddit user or follow up with the person in PR you contacted? No, of course not. It was just in the guy's spam folder. The new Feastables formula is more unhealthy than Hershey's.
MrBeast changed the formula again to where it has...
So this is actually one that I do take a little bit of issues with. I do know that the formula did change. I do know that the ingredients list did change. This is one of those that I'm no health expert. I'm no person who can really comment on it, though. This is one that has definitely stuck out to me, though. And I think I've said in the past that if it changed, I disagree with it. But it's one of those things, as we're talking chat, hey, you can learn, you can change, you can evolve. So I'm curious what he's going to bring to the table with this one. I'm curious if I'm in the wrong, if there's a valid reason for this, if that contradicts, like people have been saying, if it contradicts the initial marketing. I'm curious where he's going to go with this.
Mostly the same ingredients as Hershey's, and even more sugar and more calories per bar.
Well, compare it to the same size bar, you moron. Dogpack claims that a lot of the videos are fake because they use CGI.
This explosion.
So on the bar, and I think I've said this in the past, where I was running off of the information that the ingredients did change from the more natural things that it was initially sold on. If that was changed as a cost-cutting measure, if that was changed because we're going to, what's the word, enshittify the product, okay, yeah, then I take moral and ethical issue with that. I think that that's fair, right? You also have to, 43 grams versus 60 grams, you have to make an apt comparison, right? Oh, what are the calories in a 60-ounce Coors Light versus a 16-ounce Bud Light, right? Why are you comparing two different sizes? Come on now.
his face.
Like, where is he getting these claims from? Jimmy shows the raw footage and it is a real explosion. They just added these extra sparks.
Shredder is CGI.
They actually did shred a Lamborghini.
Nice.
Just watch the video.
This car is digitally lifted.
It's not. The YouTuber who built the car documented the whole thing. They recolored the car blue in post because they had 2 red cars. But otherwise, I don't know where he's coming up with this. Dogpack claims that contestant who won $1 million was left out to dry by Jimmy because he said he was going to help him invest and he didn't.
I was telling him, I was like, man, I don't want to fail. I don't want to be like...
Homeboy needs to turn down his audio by like 20 to 25%. It's definitely starting to drown him out.
How everybody's saying, like, I'm gonna run out of money and do all this crazy stuff. I was like, man, Jimmy, please help me. And he said he was gonna help me and we was gonna invest, but yeah, that didn't happen.
11 days after Dogpack uploaded this video, the contestant responded saying Jimmy was still helping him.
Jimmy still came through for me anytime, and even to this day, if I need something, MrBeast is always there, and I really need y'all to understand that.
MrBeast put him on a salary where he doesn't even work at the company, on top of the $1 million he gave him. Another example of Dogpack just going out on a limb is him claiming Jimmy surviving 7 days on a raft video was fake. What's his source for that? He just doesn't see anybody on the raft.
This time lapse on the 4th day of 7 days stranded at sea.
Oh man, you could probably have, I don't know, a helper boat, a little dinghy or whatever, come on in to get certain shots, because people in the shots over a time lapse, would that necessarily make for the best experience? I don't know. Like, this is one of those things that it's like, so you can argue that it might actually muddy the result, right? Or muddy the process. Like, well, they could have had a steak dinner on there. Like, sure, I guess. But as far as a time lapse expose kind of thing, like, yeah, or they're just hidden inside, right? This is one of those, like, yeah, you're accusing this, you're alleging this, right? But what's your supporting evidence? Sure, I guess that makes sense, but what is your supporting evidence for that, right?
You can clearly see there's no one in the shelter. These are their empty beds. But after a hard cut, magically 5 people are awake, and 2 of the boys have bright yellow raincoats that they didn't have when it rained on day 2.
And after standing the whole night, completely soaked...
You didn't spend the night soaked, Jimmy. You slept on the production yacht.
The truth is they were off the boat for an hour due to a lightning storm. It was for safety reasons.
Wow! You're telling me reasonable exception? So someone doesn't get seriously harmed? Whoa! What a concept! Oh my god! It's so wild, dude.
Peck revealed months later that he knew this the whole time. The boys left the raft during the storm for 4 hours, as per his source. If you were upfront with this information from the beginning, I don't think your audience would think that being off the raft for 4 hours means you...
Sure, makes sense, right? And be upfront with that. I mean, that's the thing, is, are you upfront about that? Are you not upfront about that? You can maybe add a little, like how day 4 is up here, kind of have a little, like, asterisk, you know, hey, lightning storm, we had to, we had to get off for a minute, right? Cool. Just add a super non-invasive disclosure. But then again, he also has people hired that probably were like, they probably thought about that. You're like, well, this would work, this doesn't work. Do you know in the state of Ohio, I guess there was a legal case where, and I promise this makes sense, right? Where boneless chicken wings don't actually have to be boneless. They can have bones in them, because it's like, there was some weird ruling about it where it's like, you get, like, you look at something and it's implied versus not implied because of what you're buying or something like that. So concept like that, right? Oh, it's implied, hi, there's a lightning storm, or like, it's implied that there are harsh conditions, that, yeah, they needed to get off. But even I looked at that shot, right? Oh, getting it from there, right? Doesn't look like it's on a tripod. Looks like it's on some sort of production boat or some sort of boat, right? Grats. Makes sense.
Faked a week-long challenge. So why did Dogpack's allegations gain so much steam? Well, it's because he frames himself as a credible first-hand source. I worked for MrBeast. He goes on Ludwig's stream and acts like he can't talk because of NDAs.
Okay, so you're assuming based off the screenshot, because they weren't in it, that they must have been off the boat, presumably in a yacht that I guess the crew who was helping produce this video was on, that was parked off camera nearby, and this is like a theory about it.
You're definitely controlled opposition.
Is that not what you just said? Or do you have...
Okay, I will argue, though. NDAs are effectively the get out of jail free card. Hey, Kip, you want to talk about this? No, I'm under an NDA. I can either confirm or deny something, right? It is the ultimate Yu-Gi-Oh! Trap card move, 100%. But then again, I'm also a fan of NDAs, right? I am a fan of NDAs when... like, if I was working on a project, right? If I was working on a project in regards to, I don't know, maybe I go over World War I historical firearms and I go through everything that the U.S. used, right? And I need help to it, right? Maybe I might have someone sign an NDA saying, hey, till after this happens, please don't talk about it, right? Or if I was working for MrBeast on a video, right? And it's just like, hey, yeah, we're doing range day with Brandon Herrera, right? Sure, okay, yeah, I'll sign an NDA. I can't necessarily talk about it. As it turns out, who was it? It wasn't KSI. Oh my God, who was it? Somebody burnt out recently and was just like, it was the Kick situation. I literally can't remember his name. FuziTube. Yeah, he burnt out recently and was talking about, I guess he had like Soulja Boy or something on his new album, allegedly. And he's just like, bro, you can't film that. Like, I was not supposed to let that information out. That's the oddity. People get in trouble for divulging information like that.
Like someone who knows that there was a yacht and you can't say it.
All right, go next.
Like, go next question?
Yeah.
I can't. You're just skipping everything and then calling me autistic.
Nice.
Well, because you can't read context clues. It's not my fault.
They're so
I want to point out that I definitely have a bit of the tism in some capacity. I'm definitely neurospicy. I can read the room better than some people. I can clearly read the room better than Rosanna Pansino and Dogpack 404 when it comes to, yeah, CP's not a good thing. You probably shouldn't be saying this is, allegedly CP while you're looking at it and making your YouTube thumbnail. We want to talk about reading the room, okay? I got that spiciness, okay? I got that neurospicy in me, okay? Do better, okay? I should not be the adult in the room.
to be dishonest and withhold information. I disprove most of this in my first video. Soggy disproves all of it. Check his video out. It's a masterpiece. My only criticism is that he was flown out by MrBeast employees to do the interviews, and he was not upfront about it until he was asked.
Obviously flew to America, right? Yeah. Did you cover those costs yourself, or did MrBeast in any way pay?
I'm gonna be honest on that, since it was last moment and very expensive. Dustin, as far as I know, paid for those.
In the video, he framed it as him booking the flight. But even still, the facts he brings to the table are undeniable. Dogpack's videos need to be redacted. Title change, something. But that doesn't mean that MrBeast is completely in the clear.
I love his transitions. They're so personable. I love it.
MrBeast doesn't once address the LaQuoya Hill allegations, and it's because Oompa doesn't ask about it. The allegation is that LaQuoya Hill sexually harassed his assistant. This allegation jumped to a full-on roofie and rape claim. In fact, the alleged victim even gave a statement to Dogpack saying that he'd say it was a consensual if he got hush money.
Spoken to the victim, but the victim was trying to get hush money. MrBeast, I guess, wanted was for him to say it was consensual, and I have a recorded phone call with him where he's talking about that. I mean, you'd have to like distort his voice and everything to use that.
So, you were right. They are gonna come to that.
This just feels so weird to me. Even under the assumption that this is true, even under that assumption, why are police not handling this? Did people just want to become CoffeeZilla 2.0 and become great journalists, detectives? Where are we going wrong here? Right? If something like that happens, that's when you call the police. It's when you get lawyers involved. Not blasted over the internet. Come on.
They're gonna reach out to me and say they want me to say that it was consensual.
Soggy did interview someone on MrBeast HR team about it, and she claims that the victim didn't want LaQuoya fired and that it was nothing about grape.
The assistant, like, what do you want to happen, right? If it's this, if it's that, like, obviously if it's found, like, he's gone. Like, that's not.
I have to disclose that I have a bias against HR. I don't know why we pay HR anymore. Specifically when you can apply to 200 job applications and they don't even call you back. Back in my day, in ye olden days, you submitted a job application, sometimes via paper, right? And then you call them back, say 5 to 7 days later, a week, like, hey, hi, my name is Kip. I'm just calling about my job application. They don't even respond to you. Why? And then when HR goes on vacation, they take like 8 days off. And like, oh, well, if I took 8 days off, I need to make sure I have coverage for my job, right? If I worked at a kitchen, right? Hey, I need to make sure that someone else can cover grill. If I worked at a bank, right? I need to make sure someone can handle these clients, especially if you're a private client, right? HR can just kind of go peace, and then the office just kind of shuts down for 8 days. So I have to disclose that I absolutely have a bias against HR as a job, as a department. I've also said that I am very interested, maybe... Man, I would totally do a podcast where I speak to John HR, right? Hi, my name is John HR. I know everything there is to know about HR. What questions do you have? And I absolutely, like, just talk about the position, like why certain things happen, because the more people are educated, right? Because I'm clearly not educated enough because I don't know why we have the position, right? It's not anymore. right? To get days off, get fired, right? But like even speaking to John HR and asking those questions, right? Maybe it'll open up a line of questioning. Maybe there's an industry problem of lack of HR personnel and wanting to hire so little that it ends up effing over the HR personnel, right? You see how just even tweaking the logic just a little bit can turn into a completely different situation? I digress. I do have to state, as I said, for clarity's sake, for transparency, I don't know why HR is a thing anymore. I don't know why we pay these people. If you're HR, that is nothing against you. I just don't understand it at this point. So... yeah, we're going to watch the rest of the clip with that in mind.
Okay, in any workplace, you know.
If it's like confirmed that there is something.
Like, of course, like, we're not going to hang on to that, right? And so, and he was like, yeah, I don't necessarily want him to be fired, but like, I don't want to be around him. I don't want to see him. Like, it's just really uncomfortable for me.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm seeing in this lower Doxed and Dogpack's video, I've been very outspoken about the whole Sniper Wolf doxing situation. Wow. That is, if that is the case, that he has moved even further down on my this guy is just scummy list.
I actually worked with him to come up with a list of like jobs that he wanted, because again, if the person who he's assisting is not here, like it's like, okay, well now what's your job?
So they moved LaQuoya to a different company and then brought him back when the victim didn't work there anymore because there was no longer that conflict.
The assistant worked with us for a long time, and then when he wasn't here anymore, I think it was like almost a year after the assistant like had chosen to do whatever he wanted to do. Then we were like, okay, we'll bring LaQuoya back to help, because at this point there's no conflict anymore.
But I still have questions. Is the victim Dogpack spoke to the same employee? Did MrBeast pay the hush money? Also, the timeline between these two statements just doesn't make sense to me. I recently had Oompaville relay these questions to MrBeast, and he just isn't going to respond. I then had Nick reach out and ask him questions, and he said, Jimmy's afraid that if he makes himself available to comment for everyone, it will just further extend this. Well then,
he is correct. I will say, the MrBeast brand in general is a little damaged to me, not necessarily because of a lot of allegations, but because of his association with Logan Paul, right? With someone who has been known to film a body in a forest, right? And suffer seemingly zero consequences in an official capacity. Who has been involved in CryptoZoo, who is currently at a federal level for anti-slap suing CoffeeZilla, right? Now, it's association with that, right? It's like, it goes back to the whole brand thing, right? The whole brands protecting themselves kind of thing. If I were to have an association with, say, I don't know, Jared Fogle, right? People go, excuse you, Kip? What are you doing? Why? Yeah, I can't get behind that. And absolutely so. You would have every right to not get behind that, because association, in a sense, can justify the other person's actions. And that becomes a very zero-sum, negative-sum game. It's why when allegations come out, like, oh, hey, well, this person is, proven to be grooming people, proven to be dealing with minors in inappropriate capacity. It's why companies, sponsors, people, friends drop them like a brick, because you don't want to be associated with that.
Don't talk to everyone, just answer the questions. These are pretty serious allegations. I feel like it's important. Jimmy also apparently told Nick in the call that he didn't pay hush money to anyone. He did not confirm if this employee was the same one that Dogpack interviewed, or if drugging and rape was ever an allegation made to HR. In the interview, the employee sounds like he still worked at MrBeast, while in Soggy's video, they state that the employee left a long time ago. I would be more satisfied with an official statement on record. That's my opinion. Another thing MrBeast is looking shady on is the crypto stuff. His answers are just not at all consistent with what he was saying in 2021.
Didn't pick what punks to buy or anything. Gary Vee, like I said on that podcast, called me and a bunch of other people, said crypto punks were the next big thing. I thought it was pretty crazy, but the first thing I did right after that is just called the guy in charge of the fund who invested my money, and he did the research, picked what punks to buy, bought them. That's kind of high level how it went. But if he was like, oh, this is a shit investment, then he wouldn't have bought them. So,
all right, I cannot tell you how weird this answer is.
So this might get taken. This might have to get clipped out. I'm not sure yet. CoffeeZilla. This actually should fit very well. And I try to signal boost as much as I can. CoffeeZilla does not want React content made to his content in like a chunk status, kind of like what I'm doing right now to WillyMacShow's video. However, taking out of clips, he said is fine, and I do have the email. So for those that don't know why I don't react to CoffeeZilla, it's not because I don't respect him. It's not because I don't like him. It's that I want to make sure I'm respecting his wishes and that I'm not as transformative as I am, it still does fall under reacting to the whole video in a single sitting. So this should be fine now that I think about it. But anything with CoffeeZilla, I just make sure I'm super careful with, because I don't have permission, and I'm, for all intents and purposes, just John React channel.
In hindsight, because you basically have to completely disbelieve what Jimmy says in 2021 to believe this story.
His answers in the interview do not portray the reality of what happened.
But you rewind a little bit, MrBeast is on Twitter saying, I bought this CryptoPunk. He's on the podcast saying, I bought multiple CryptoPunks.
That I bought a bunch.
He's on the podcast saying, I sold.
I've already sold quite a few of them.
I rolled the money into VFriends.
So then I rolled the money into VFriends.
And then even more crazy, he says he specifically bought certain CryptoPunks because he liked their attribute, like the cigarette one. He's like, I like the cigarette CryptoPunk.
The cigarettes, because I thought that was an interesting attribute.
But here he's saying, oh, I didn't even know which ones to buy.
I don't know which punks to buy or which ones we should buy if it's a good investment.
Jimmy is hiding from accountability by blaming his fund, but he was clearly playing an active role in that fund.
Frustration here is the fact that anytime there's a problem, it's all the fund. I did nothing.
So even if it is a party on behalf of you, there is an argument you will still take responsibility. So Epidemic Sound, right? I've made a few videos at this point. Even with a license, I have still gotten copyright claimed twice by them. To which, like, oh, we'll just message us and we'll fix it. No. I'm paying for a license. You're supposed to do that. You're supposed to take care of all of that. Why am I paying you if you're not going to respect the license, right? And still copyright claim me, right? Well, this is done on a collective agency. This is a false claim. Do you still not own the IP? Is your name still not on the account? I don't know what to tell you. So there could be an argument here that even if he played a hands-off role, the fact that he was still a party even on behalf of him was still dealing with it could still reflect on his branding. I think that is a fair take to have on the situation in terms of accountability, even if it's down the chain.
I had nothing to do with it, etc. But when you actually look at these investments were all talking about Jimmy. Like, it wasn't about, oh, there's multiple stakeholders, it's Jason Williams. No. It was all MrBeast. And that's the criticism that I think he's not engaging with here.
There's a coin called Super. Jimmy was invested in the pre-sale of this coin. As it went live, Jimmy was selling, and he continued to sell, selling the coin as he was promoting its viability on Twitter. And Jimmy won't even acknowledge that he should have disclosed that he was heavily invested in Super while he was promoting it.
Why did you not disclose?
Let the FTC handle that. That's one of those you file, like FTC, maybe even the IRS gets involved in that. You let those organizations handle that, and you just, hey, yeah, this is what happened. You know, there was clearly an investment in here. Like, he clearly had skin in the game. Even if some people like the FTC don't find any sort of fault or wrongdoing, it's still like, yeah, no, there was, yeah, this event happened. Cool.
That you had a vested interest in the coin that you were tweeting about, Super ? Yeah, we'll start there.
Well, I replied to a tweet, so I did tweet it out, and I think a lot of people.
Wait, you did tweet it out? You replied?
Do we actually have a reaction to a CoffeeZilla reaction to the Oompaville MrBeast bit? Bro, what inception are we in? This is amazing. But see, here's the difference. As I enjoy CoffeeZilla videos, but even then, clearly CoffeeZilla is large enough to talk to someone like Oompaville. And even if it's like, well, someone out there's like, well, you can't, you're trying to control React content, who reacts to it. That's literally how that works, right? I don't react to Kyle Hill, not because I don't like him, because he is asked, unless you're kind of a specialist in a field, please don't react to his stuff. Cool. Awesome. Seems pretty fair to me, Captain. So, yeah, I mean, even if that's in doubt, right? They clearly know each other in some capacity, right? Or they're at least on a professional term basis with each other. Sure. React content just gets weird. Like, at the end of the day, don't be a dick, right? Don't be a dick. If someone says not to, just respect it. Not that you necessarily can't, just respect it. Just be super legit. That's kind of my goal, right? To do what I do and try to do it in as ethical a way as I can.
This is such a weird distinction. You'll see multiple times he kind of goes like, he'll engage with something that's not really the criticism. The criticism is, well, why didn't you just disclose you had tons of Super? And you'll see he bends over backwards to not answer that question.
People, that are just getting second hands of the story think I literally tweeted out, go buy Super, go buy Super. Yeah, the fund did hold some Super, And I just saw that was the owner of Super, the guy who made the coin. And I just went scrolling through Twitter, just replied Super to his tweet. I did not tell people to buy Super.
Wait, no, stop. So first of all, does not answer the question of like, why didn't you disclose it? Such an obvious disclosure. And he doesn't disclose, one, that he set up a pre-sale and he's like in before anyone else, right? Millions of dollars he's in. Two, that his fund had been selling and continued to sell after that tweet. Like the most irresponsible, even if you want to give him ultimate master benefit of the doubt, incredibly irresponsible. And there's no way that a single person did not see that. And multiple people, I'm sure, see the biggest influencer in the world talking about this, some great low cap coin at eye-watering prices. He's responding this, and they don't see that as a buy signal from MrBeast.
That should be obvious. Jimmy also just seemingly lies about his charity NFTs. The Team C's charity did an auction for NFTs using Eternity and Earn tokens, both things MrBeast was partnered and invested in. Now the charity was a flop, only selling 2 NFTs, and during one of the sales, MrBeast charity fund dumped all of their Earn, netting the charity over $2 million. Jimmy just lies about this.
Eternity gave us NFTs to auction off for Team C's. Only one sold after like, a day, I believe, and that was it. And then, it looks like the fund sold like 27 days later, a little bit of Eternity.
This was the craziest part of the interview, in my opinion. He says, oh, we sold after the charity. The one NFT sold. Not true. Then he said, we only sold a few tokens. Also not true. They sold $2 million. And then on top of that, here's where you can actually see the dates of all this stuff. You can see the offer was made on November 2nd. Is that what he's referring to when he says, we sold it? But because that's not actually true. The sale did not happen until December 23rd, 2021. After the fund sold. So this whole idea he's going to say multiple times where he's going to go, oh, we didn't sell anywhere near the charity time. First of all, that's not true. Second of all, it's just literally false, and NFT sold after the fact. So this whole defense of his is based on misinformation.
Which is ironic because that's the whole point of the interview, debunking misinformation. CoffeeZilla makes clear that what MrBeast did isn't illegal, but it is shady.
I'm not even saying that this was an explicit pump and dump. I don't think we have enough evidence for that. But we do have evidence that this is extremely shady. You are crossing some influencer ethics here.
There's nothing nefarious there.
I do like where he comes from though, right? Like, cool, hey, we don't have enough evidence to say it is this. A stark contract to just Dogpack and Rosanna, right? Oh, hey, we don't have enough evidence to really say one way or the other. Is this questionable? Yeah, it's pretty questionable. Pretty shady, right? It's that in my opinion sets CoffeeZilla apart from people who try to emulate him, from a bunch of other creators.
Yeah, it sold $2 million of the Earn token.
Yes, obviously. It's like the most obvious comeback.
Yes, the fund did 20.
Oh, now there it is. There's the fund. Hey,
he pausing too much. React creator paused too. It's so funny because oh my god, that is such a weird criticism that I get all the time. That React videos are too long. You spend too much time yapping. It's like a conversation, right? You don't want someone to paragraph at you mid conversation, right? Or well, you pause too much, bro. Just watch the original video. Just such cope.
The fund did. You know whose name is on Eternity? Not the fund. It's MrBeast.
Nice.
That's why the criticism is here. It's MrBeast the whole way. It wasn't Nick Rose, the CEO, going, hey guys, this rocket fund is investing in us. No. It's MrBeast. MrBeast is supporting this drop through his charity, Team C's. I cannot understand why we can't get to a basic hey, I'm taking the L on this one.
Jimmy has admitted that he's watched CoffeeZilla's video on him raising concerns.
People who don't like me, like he said in the video, are not going to like me, and they're, going to run with it. People who do like me are going to be like, oh, it was managed by fund, and Jimmy has answers for everything.
I mean, I'm somewhere in the middle, unironically. Sure, if we're giving you benefit of the doubt, even if this is your fund, it's still your brand, right? If I had somebody invest for me, and they invested in something that ended up being a pyramid scheme, man, I would come down like a brick truck on that investment firm. It did that for me. And even then, I would expect to get the backlash, right? Like, that's just how that works.
I mean,
no, he doesn't. Wait, that's not what I said. I said, if you want to believe Mr. Beast, there are scapegoats at every turn.
Sure.
Which I do believe is true. You can just believe that, Jason Williams was in charge of everything. And I think that's probably somewhat true. Like, I think there's some truth to that, but not everything. That's the point.
Yet Jimmy just ignores CoffeeZilla. All the times he reached out, ignored. It's so funny to watch a whole interview where Jimmy's like, my biggest regret is not responding sooner.
Definitely would imagine that you would regret have not making a response early.
Oh,
right?
100%. I definitely could have handled it better. Like, I probably should have, the second I could have talked, I don't remember the exact date, 2 or 3 weeks ago when we put that report out, probably should have done something like this right then. If I could go back in time, I would.
But then he doesn't respond to CoffeeZilla's questions. He doesn't respond to my questions. He tells Nick if he takes an interview with one person, then he has to do an interview with everyone. So he can't do it. Why? It's so dumb. Like, you obviously wouldn't have to do that. Now,
why does he not have his lawyer do it? Why does he not have, especially if he wants to use a firm, why does he not have his lawyer answering for him or having a pre-prepared statement? Would it be seen as bad? I feel it's potentially worse to come on a podcast stream, etc., and to not be able to really speak on things. And there could be things that are under NDA. There could be things he doesn't want to disclose. There could be things that current active legal proceedings are going under, so he can't talk about certain things, right? This is one of those that I feel I just have to ask, why isn't his lawyer doing some of this, or someone on behalf of his legal team who has the information that they can and cannot talk about already outlined? I feel that might, it could be seen as damage control too. Plus lawyers are expensive. I don't know. This is one of those that I have to question the motive. And I do agree. Like imagine, right? Imagine, if you will. I understand where he's coming from. Well, you did this interview with Oompaville. Well, what I, as John Kipp Reacts, would like to have a conversation. No. I'm way too small to have something like that. But to be fair, that's also a pick and choose kind of thing, right? Imagine if I were to say, hi, Mr. Beast, I'd like to talk to you, right? Cool, it just gets sent to the ignore box or gets sent to the spam box, right? Or it just gets deleted, right? Why? What can I do for the company, right? Nothing. Grats. Cool. Awesome. No different than sending a collab offer and then just being like, no. But I think that this is deflecting in a sense because, well, then I have to give everyone an interview. No, you don't. You're your own individual with your own agency, and you can choose who you go with, where you go with, right? Like what podcasts you do and don't go on, right? I don't think that necessarily holds water when I look at that.
I want to make clear, Jimmy not answering these questions does not mean he's guilty, but these demons will haunt him until he addresses it. MrBeast is suing Dogpack.
Are you going to sue Dogpack?
That's the one.
Well, there's tons of examples.
So he has to word this in a specific way. It's why I actually completely just barred someone from commenting because they threatened legal action in some capacity. And I kept responding. You may speak to, you may have your lawyers reach out to my business email. You may have your lawyers reach out to my business email. You may have your lawyers reach out to my business email. Well, you're not a lawyer, Kip. Cool. just gonna remove this whole discourse. You keep records of it. Cool. Your lawyers may reach out to me through my email. That's shaped by my experience in finance. Because the moment someone can be angry at you, like, well, why aren't you reversing my 25 overdraft fees? I was on vacation. I didn't check my account. I should have all these reversed. Sorry, I'm looking at this. Let me see what I can do. The moment they say, well, I'll just talk to my lawyers. I'm sorry. Any future correspondence may be taken, brought up to our legal team. As you did mention legal action. It's been my pleasure to assist you today. Have a nice day. Click. Just hang up. The moment you mention legality, you are in a different ball game, right? It's literally like drawing aggro on an enemy, right? Or like drawing your weapon in a city in, like, say, Skyrim or something like that. How like the mood just shifts. The moment you mention legality, being litigious, etc., you are in a different game. Effectively, you have rolled for combat in a certain stance. It's why I choose my words very carefully, because the moment you say that, the moment you say something, that can open up a whole other can of worms.
Of him intentionally manipulating things to not be true and posting it online. Tons and tons and tons of that. It's just unfortunate. Like, I don't want to be put in this situation, but Probably gonna have to.
Now, I have never supported suing another creator, but Dogpack has participated in so much defamation, he deserves it. Rosanna posted a response on Twitter. Now that
Oh, she's gonna go over it.
MrBeast has responded after 4 months. I want to take a few days and see what his approach would be. It appears these were his main steps. 1. A broad public statement from his lawyers. It wasn't really his lawyers, it was a third-party investigation, but whatever. 2. An expenses paid trip for Soggy Cereal to interview MrBeast employees, also known as excess journalism. Soggy should have disclosed that he was flown out, but if the information is correct, why does it matter? What does it change? Engage with those points. 3. Coordination with commentary channels with MrBeast, asking them to cover Soggy's video. I mentioned before there's a large group of channels who coordinate behind the scenes to defend Jimmy. She is conflating two things. One of them is the Tea Party commentary group chat, which I was in. It has nothing to do with Jimmy. If it was, he would have answered my questions. She's just making it up. MrBeast did, however, separately DM commentary channel Soggy's video. I agree that it's cringe, but if the
Is this the 2-hour video? I don't know. I care about this at a surface level. I don't know if I would react to it or watch it. I only can handle a certain amount of drama. This specifically hits a lot of points that I wanted to, and to actually be able to look at this from I trust WillyMac's perspective. I mean, so far he has proven to be very direct, which I like, right? Talk to a lot of military watch me. I appreciate you guys' directness, okay? I've taken a page out of your guys' book, okay? I'm very direct, sometimes to a fault. But he also he just covers topics. Him and I seem to share similar opinions, such as the whole CP thing earlier, right? Yeah. Kind of there.
information is correct, what does it change? 4. A very favorable softball interview, also known as a puff piece. Okay, but what did Jimmy get wrong in it? She never engages. One thing you'll notice about this approach is not a single victim was interviewed across the hours of videos. Like who? Your Bones victims that Jimmy can't find? She doesn't have a single victim that isn't anonymous, besides Jake Weddle. And Jimmy's tried his best to make it right with him. Now this whole drama is probably going to be pretty quiet for a while due to lawyers getting involved. Yeah. And it's still a mess. Dogpack and Rosanna are liars, pushing disinformation, and because of their poor coverage, it's discredited the only victim Jimmy hasn't addressed. He might not.
I don't dislike coverage on things. I dislike when you do it badly, like actual certified skill issue. And that's what you could call it. Rosanna Pansino and Dogpack 404, in trying to cover this, have a certified skill issue to the point of being just absolutely so far out of the ballpark in making claims and allegations. It's wild to me. That's what I have an issue with. I have an issue with skill issues, not necessarily that people are doing this. So I was going to save this towards the end. This is why I also want to figure this. Yeah, it's going to probably go quiet for a little while, depending on what lawyers do and do get involved, what is and isn't covered, etc. This could set precedent. And there's a number of cases right now that could set precedent for YouTube, right? And I try to just be nice as possible to people on here. I know, such a contrary, even hypocritical statement considering how I've treated Dogpack and Rosanna, right? I try to be as nice as possible to people because it's like show people the respect you want to receive, right? And then I don't receive respect, and I'm just like, Lamau, why are you why are you here, right? Just watch the original video, Captain. If things go certain ways, we could see regulation of YouTube in certain ways. Or we could see a demonetization of content, calling out other creators, which might not in itself be a bad thing, but we start to encroach on where that line gets drawn and what would and wouldn't be considered for demonetization, right? So that's, I think, where my interest lies. What is the end goal here? And what precedent does this set? That becomes my main concern.
Have to now. Depending on how much charity you're willing to give Jimmy, this stuff along with the crypto might just seem like a reach that doesn't need to be addressed. But if you hate Jimmy, this silence is deafening. So tell me what you think. Subscribe to the channel and buy a fume. Shout out to the homies over on Patreon: Phoebes, Crimson Glass, Riveter, Christina Vina, Mac Monkey, Frank Kobex, Necro Valley, Stefan Bildman, The Confusing Opinion, Eddie Bizzle, Tismic Fitz, Christopher H, TV Anthology Reviews, Kanklemore, Sentinel Music, Lucas If, ET Automatic, Snoopy Poop Doop 2, ML Bay, Deep Pocket Jew, Rudy Boo, Drew is Sharon, Clown Factory, Monkey D. Luffy, and the mega homies Reynolds Hughes Hellison, IGP Your Taxi, Latchkey Gothboy, Cyber Katie, Lori Loaded, Papa Gut, Caden Lulin, BA Subway, Hawkin Load, Derek Dew, Kitty Cat, Terox, Bayunder, John Manfreda, Trick, Lucas, Katie Huck, Leviathan, Panic Pun, JPEG.
Deep Pocket Jew got me. That one was funny. I like that. What an absolute legend. So I have trouble closing out videos because I get way too long. So we're going to yeah, we're going to end this pretty succinctly. I liked this, like this video by Willy Mac. Thank you for presenting the video in such a direct and informative way that pointed out faults on both sides. Obviously, if you believe in one thing, obviously not going to change your mind. Obviously, you, Jenner, will probably not change my mind. We can respectfully agree to disagree. I think legally this is going to be interesting to see where this does and doesn't go. And yeah, go and check out WillyMacShow. I will make sure to leave him in the description down below for you. And thank you all for watching.